We're back to unleash financial insight for Magic the Gathering. Today's video will talk about cards that players are not focused on at this time from Modern Horizons 3. We're going to take a look at 3 key cards and then talk about what's going on in the secondary market and why players may be overlooking hidden gems. What's hot for one moment may not be in the next. It's always good to pay attention to what's going on in the market space and understand which cards you should be looking at. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today as we discuss Modern Horizons 3 and some really hot cards that are being overlooked right now. Now, if you're wondering how I know a card's being overlooked, it's because the card does multiple effects, its price is falling, and it's a card that everyone talked about but is now ignoring. Now, in some cases, it's because a deck build around this card hasn't manifested yet. Other times, let's face it, a YouTube content creator comes out, you hear an article, you read something, and before you know it, your attention is attracted to something else and you spend your money there, only to go back and see that the card that was kind of cheap is now not so cheap. Other people bought into it and now that card's expensive, but you had a window and you recognized that window. You were just a little bit too late in getting to it. And that's what we're here to talk about today, because with a set like Modern Horizons 3, as big as it is and as much attention as this set is drawing, there's a lot of eyes focused on very narrow avenues of card development. They are looking at a card because somebody has mentioned something about it, like I'm going to do here today. But I'm going to be talking about cards that are losing in value, and those cards that have lost value may not always be that way. So the couple of cards I'm going to share with you today and explain why I'm talking about them are something I'd like to pick up on, because if it can save you a few bucks, if it's a card you thought about getting and now can save money getting it when everyone else is looking somewhere else, that's a win-win in my book. So let's go ahead and take a look at some really great Magic cards from Modern Horizons 3 and why I think these are cards you should be looking at. The first card from Modern Horizons 3 that I'm going to be talking about is Necro Dominance. Now, this is a mythic from the set, and it offers a lot because it used to be a $75 pre-order card, which obviously is way too high for this card, but even in comparison to what it's costing now at $26 on pre-order, this is a pretty tasty card for the price range you're buying it in. As a 3-black legendary enchantment, skip your draw step. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay any amount of life. If you do, draw that many cards. Your maximum hand size is 5. If a card or token would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Now, for a long time, this card had a lot of attention. There was a lot of YouTube content creators pumping this card, saying how amazing it's going to be. But all that attention on the card came too soon. Players are now looking elsewhere. The ones who really wanted it bought it at a higher price point, and now nobody's paying attention. Well, when you don't pay attention, there's nothing saying this card isn't going to rebound and be something entirely different. I mean, let's take a look at the amazing artwork on the card. Looking at what this thing is as a mythic legendary enchantment. The abilities it offers are multiple. You've got the skip your draw step. You've got all kinds of ways of gaining life when you have to give up cards in hand, but you also get to draw. When you look at how this works with Sheoldred, this is a disgustingly powerful card that is very underrated. With all the multiple abilities and things it can do for you, as well as mixing it with Necropotence and other cards, I mean, this is just an awesome card that should be bought at around the $25 mark, but I'm not sure players are going to do it. Now, our next card is Emrakul, The World Anew. This is yet another example of a card that was early spoiler. A lot of YouTube content creators and a whole bunch of articles were written that eventually got ignored the closer we got to the release date. So what do we get for Emrakul? Well, it's not $100 Canadian anymore. It's not even $70 US. This thing can be found for around $35 to $40 on TCG Player. What are we getting for our money? Well, we're getting a lot, really. Emrakul, The World Anew, is a 12 casting cost, of course, and it is a legendary creature Eldrazi, which is fantastic. Now, 12 is a lot though, but it's minimized by the amount of land cards that can lower the casting cost of Eldrazi spells nowadays. It also says, when you cast this spell, you gain control of all creatures target player controls. That's amazing. Great for commander games. Flying, protection from spells and from permanents that were cast this turn. Oh well, okay, we're going to pick things off. And when Emrakul, the World Anew, leaves the battlefield, sacrifice all creatures you control. Not to mention, it also has Madness, pay 6. So if you need a board clearance happening right away, and you want to take control of people's creatures, it's crazy. Now, the Madness effect I put up here just in case you're not familiar with it, but this card is offering a lot. And the fact that even if this thing is countered, you still get control of all their creatures is just, it's insanity to think how cheap this card is for what it's going to do for you. And of course, let's not forget it's colorless, which means it can fit into any deck at any time. You can just throw it in as some kind of super bomb for later in the game. It offers a lot for a very low price point. Now, our next card is Grist, the Voracious Larva. This is one of the cards a lot of people got attracted to in Modern Horizons 3, and even at the $40 mark, I know a couple of friends who bought the card. But what happened since then? This card lost a lot of its appeal in the early first 30 days. Although players are looking forward to having it, they knew the card would go cheaper. And that's exactly what it's done. It's continued to fall in value. Now this thing is around the $11 US mark. That's a pretty appetizing card to buy for that price point. And again, the abilities of these flip planeswalkers, including Grist, are not something to be underrated. Look what happened with Ral the Monsoon Mage. Now, Grist the Voracious Larva. As a 1/2, it doesn't seem that great. The death touch is kind of nice, but it seems slow for a modern game, but that doesn't mean it can't be used in Commander, of course. And when you get the larva, look what it says. Whenever Grist, Voracious Larva, or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it entered from your graveyard, or cast it from your graveyard, you may pay 1 green. If you do, you exile Grist and return it to the battlefield as, of course, the Planeswalker version of Grist. And that Grist ability is a pretty nice card. The +1 is creating a 1/1 black and green insect token. Then you mill 2 cards, put a death touch counter on a token if it is black card milled this way. So if you mill a black card, you're going to get a little death touch token put on one of your creatures. But it also says destroy target artifact or equipment. I guess that's an emergency self-defense mechanism. Or the -6 ability, for each creature in your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1 black and green insect token. Think of the triggering effects that can go off with cards like this, and it's a $10 card. These cards right now, they may fall further in price, but they're very attractive for what card advantage they can give you. Magic, like in a game of chess, you need a piece to always give you an advantage when it comes out. It's got to do something to forward your agenda in your game. And these cards, the ones I've showed you today, do a lot of that. But right now, they're all being ignored. People have so many choices when it comes to Modern Horizons 3 right now, so many card options to look at, to build with, that of course it was likely going to be that some of these cards would get overlooked. And it makes sense. It makes sense that right now, these cards, as early spoilers that were showed in the game, are the ones being overlooked because we've seen them the most, and players tend to go to the newest, flashiest things. Whether it's a content creator talking about a card, whether it's some new synergized effect that's going to happen with new deck construction, it seems likely that cards that were mentioned first are going to be the ones that get forgotten. And a lot of content creators, including myself, pumped up a lot of these cards and talked about how awesome they were going to be. And now we don't hear a lot. We see prices falling. We see these cards being ignored. But that also means that at some point, the table could turn. These cards could come back around and start gaining back market share, gaining back value, which means if you're a speculator, you could probably flip these cards and make some money at some point. We all know they're going to get reprinted, so be careful. Shop smart, shop S-smart. And we can also look at players who want to take every advantage they can get to get cards cheap. These Eldrazi cards right now, the ones that are being ignored, these are cards to grab if you're looking to ever build an Eldrazi deck some point in the future. Even at $35, that seems like a very inexpensive card to get for all of the multitude of effects that card's going to bring to the table. It's insane to think it's going to happen, but these ones also don't say shuffle this into your graveyard like the original Eldrazi, which means it goes to your graveyard, you can find a way to bring it back. It's awesome to see some of these cards dropping so much in value that even I'm going to take advantage of my own advice and pick a couple of these up, because I do believe a lot of them are going to rebound at some point in the near future. We still have Bloomburrow, Duskmourn, and of course we've got the Universes Beyond Assassin's Creed. All of those will have a little bit of attention turned away, but Modern Horizons 3 definitely has got something going for it right now, and that momentum is carrying it forward. So sooner or later, players are going to look at other cards. Take advantage while you can. Enjoy your time in Magic. It's an amazing game, and I can't wait to see what you guys say in the comment section. Did I miss some cards you thought I should have mentioned? Was there hidden gems you think need to be recognized? You can slam some comments down there, and don't forget, I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Have yourselves a great day. All right, here we are at the end. Whether you're a demigod, a table lord, maybe you're someone hanging out in a patron party room, or maybe you're a patron hero, followed by the people who worship the Soldevi excavations. Maybe you're from the Necronomicon, or you're in the waiting room. We all know you players are amazing because of the patron believers we have here, we get to do content every single day. Thanks again, everyone. Well, well, well. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. You ain't going nowhere. I got you for 3 minutes. Remember Spider-Man? Randy Macho Man Savage? He's like all pumped up. Yeah, you guys know. You remember. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. The prices on some of these cards just seem too cheap to me. If you've kept your powder dry and you bought some singles now, I think you're going to come out ahead. If not just in the playability factor of the cards you're getting at a reduced price, and the fact we saw some of these cards hanging around at like $70, $80 in the case of Emrakul, and now you can find it for like $40. That's insane. Great deals to be had. And the fact you can stick them in all kinds of crazy decks means, yeah, you're going to have some fun with that stuff. And that's what I like to talk about. Having fun with the cards, man. I can't help it. I feel like a kid in a candy store, but I may have forgotten my parents' wallet at home because I don't own one yet, so I should have brought my parents' wallet just to pick up a few extra, a little bit of this and a little bit of that, you know? Yes, part of me says I should be buying reserve list cards, I understand, but at the same time, new cards are fun too. It's all fun when you're mixing them all together and playing a great game of Magic. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves.